Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the Book Brood. And today we're going to be bringing you the Bennet sisters book pairing video.
Right, so this is where we match books to... I went with personality traits. I'm not sure if that's what you went with as well, but
Mostly.
Matching them up with the sisters, the 5 Bennet sisters from Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice.
Yes. We're going to go in chronological birth order.
Starting with Jane. We should put a picture here of, different versions of Jane, maybe?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll put Jane
What
and
is
all the
this?
other characters. That was exactly what you were doing. That was the same thing you were doing.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll put a picture here of Jane.
For myself, I went with any kind of Persephone romance book because I feel like Persephone is a very good personification of Jane as a character.
Absolutely.
Just strives for perfection and just wants to be, and is just naturally elegant.
Yeah. I also feel like there's a little something to be said about getting swept up into someone else's story. Mm-hmm. Where it's not her, she doesn't have a lot of agency there.
No.
I think that really pairs well with Jane.
Yes, it does. Very good.
Okay, and I went with Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I think the main character here really gives me Jane vibes. Kind of like Persephone in that she's more part of someone else's story. The main character of Rebecca marries an older man and moves in with him in his house, where there's a lot of staff that live there too, and she feels like she's being held up to a different standard. She's being held up to like the perfection standard of his ex-wife, and who died tragically. And she doesn't feel like she lives up to that. And I don't know, I feel like Jane really got the brunt of the family's expectations on her.
No, I think that's a very good comparison there. I have never read Rebecca, but
I mean,
yes,
it's not a
too.
perfect comparison, but I definitely.
I think it does because, like you were saying, the lack of agency. So Jane does not pursue Bingley in any kind of strong manner at all. She just kind of sits there and hopes. Is he gonna ask me to marry him?
Yeah.
And she spends that whole trip in London, hoping that he's gonna come visit her. And
yeah, it turns out he had no idea she was even there.
Mm-hmm. And now for everyone's favorite, Elizabeth Bennet.
And we'll just put Keira Knightley right here for everyone.
We'll put Jennifer L's picture right there.
Keira Knightley.
So for me, I chose the book Vivid by Beverly Jenkins. So I thought the character of Vivid very much embodied Elizabeth, and that if she was allowed to pursue a career that, I don't know if it would be specifically medicine, but she would probably be very accomplished in her career and wouldn't put up with any business of people telling her she didn't belong there.
That is really funny because I used a character similar for the next sister, but we'll get there in a second. What I said for Elizabeth is I said Cimmerian from the middle grade series, where the first one is Dealing with Dragons. This is about a princess who is tired of being a princess and runs away to go live with a dragon, where she spends her day baking and reading and telling princes to go away. She doesn't need to be rescued. So that independence and that lack of respect for tradition really reminded me of Elizabeth.
Yes. Next is everyone's second favorite, obviously. That's Mary Bennet.
Mary is one of the sisters that kind of just got the raw end of the deal.
Yeah, middle sister.
Yeah.
And
her mother clearly hates her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and her father probably doesn't have much hope for her prospects in life.
Everyone's just assuming she's going to be a spinster.
Right, despite the fact that she's probably the most educated and self-educated too of the sisters.
Yeah. What did you say for Mary?
So I picked the book The Rise and Fall of Dodo by Neil Stevenson and Nicole Galland because our main character, Millicent Stokes, is a highly accomplished linguist who is a polyglot and ends up helping out a military intelligence unit that deals with time travel and things like that. So she has to use her intelligence to go back in time and interact with historical societies and things like that. And she just really kind of went along with Mary's studiousness.
Yeah, I can see that. Mary seems the type that would crush that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Job. Yeah, absolutely. So I went with the character I was mentioning earlier that it wants to be a doctor in a time where women are not allowed to be doctors. And that is Felicity from so Mackenzie Lee has this series, I'm not sure what it's called, but like she highly is featured in the second one, which is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. But I guess technically you should probably read the first one, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. Anyways, Felicity wants to be a doctor, wants to go to college, be educated, but everyone, including her family and the medical board at the hospital, is like, no, you can't. Women's brains are too fragile for things like this. And she's just having none of it, right? And I feel like in this story, she was written to be able to go out into the world and pursue the type of life that I think Mary would have loved, but didn't get the opportunity.
Yeah. All right, now who's the next sister? Who's the sister?
I don't remember.
Catherine, or Kitty, which we'll just call the lost sister in the Bennet
Absolutely.
5. So for Kitty, I went with Divergent by Veronica Roth because I feel like this book gets lost in the shadow of the Hunger Games. Or at least... So if Lydia was the Hunger Games here, Kitty would be...
Just hiding
Divergent.
back here.
Yeah, back.
I see what you're doing there.
So,
That's funny because I went with Addie LaRue from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by B.E. Schwab because no one remembers she exists. And yeah, I do think that she just gets lost in her sister's shadow. Mostly Lydia in the movie. I'm not sure if that's different, if she gets overshadowed by her older sisters more so in the book.
No, she doesn't, because it's brought up that when Lydia is out of the house, Kitty becomes a little more well-mannered. She becomes more tolerable to her older sisters and starts to emulate them more and also come out of her shell, I guess, and be her own person a bit.
Okay, so it is really just Lydia overshadowing her. Okay, that makes sense. And the last sister on that note is Lydia.
And I chose for her so I chose a book series for Lydia, and that is The Lords of the Underworld by Gina Showalter, specifically for the character of Viola, who is the embodiment of the demon of narcissism. And this character really never hears anyone around her unless they're talking about her. And
wow.
Yeah.
That sounds very much Lydia. Absolutely. What did I say from this? Oh my gosh. I feel a little guilty about this because I don't know where I stand on the character of Lydia. I feel like she got punished for having a libido in a time where respectable women didn't do that or something. I don't know. But I went with the main character from Luster by Raven Lalani. And so the main character's name is Edie. And she makes choices based on her libido instead of any common sense. And that just kind of resonated with the story of Lydia running off and having a scandal with the Mr. Wickham. So, unfortunately. that I still feel guilty about that. I feel like I'm not judging. I'm just pairing two characters up.
Yes, you make a very fair argument about Lydia and just getting judged for being who she was in her time.
Yeah.
Also because her parents really didn't do much to give her an opportunity to be anything but someone trying as hard as possible to get a husband.
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah. So what did you guys think? If you have any pairings that you think would be a better match for the Bennet sisters, please let us know.
And if you like this type of video, let us know and we'll do more of this kind of thing. We might do more of it anyway. So,
There's still a lot of characters. There's a lot of themes that we can pull from this novel too. We can match up. So I'm excited.
All right. We'll see you in the next video, everyone.
Bye, guys.